In this week's worship, the gospel lesson includes the verse Mark chapter 2, verse 28. It's the verse where Jesus declares, "So then the Son of Man," he was referring to himself, "the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath." What an interesting verse. Let me explain it a little bit to you. In that verse, most of all, Jesus was claiming to be true God, God over all things, God who is Lord of the Sabbath. But secondarily in that verse, and this is important yet, is that Jesus was declaring himself to be ushering in a whole New Testament. See, the Old Testament was passing away, and the New Testament, in which Jesus was ruling so very directly, was coming. He wasn't going to hold people to the Old Testament laws the way he did back in Old Testament times. See, back in the Old Testament, people were saved by grace through faith in Jesus Christ, just like us. But in order to serve the Lord, they did need to follow his Old Testament laws, including the Sabbath law. And those laws were good. Take the Sabbath law, for example. More or less, God was saying during the whole week, you slave away 6 days a week, thinking that's what you need to do in order to eat and thrive. On the seventh day, take the day off. If you still eat and you still thrive, then you know to whom you may give credit for all the days of surviving and thriving and eating. Me, the Lord. And besides, while you're not cooking or traveling or sowing or harvesting, you'll have time enough to pay some attention to me 1 day a week. You and I ought to learn from that. Even though it's not necessary for us to quit work from sundown Friday night to sundown Saturday, it's still necessary for us to take some Sabbath time to get together, to sing together, to hear God's word together, to rejoice that Jesus Christ has rescued us together from sin, death, and hell. We need to take some time to pray together and, certainly to receive Christ's true body and blood together. So, this weekend, fulfill the spirit of the Sabbath, even though the Sabbath law isn't incumbent on your shoulders any longer. We'll see you in church or in worship out at the park. Until then, take care.